Welcome everybody. My name is Rufo Guerreschi. I'm the Executive Director of the Trustless Computing Association, Italian association based in Switzerland for a year already. So this is the 7th edition of the Free and Safe in Cyberspace conference and pre-conference. And we are now in Switzerland. It's the 2nd edition. Some of the people in this room are somewhat my age. They remember in the 2000 the internet boom, in which the internet boomed everywhere. It was the new thing, and everybody had the expectation that internet would democratize. Would be only one big village. Everyone could become a newspaper with a blog. We're all connected. It was automatically democratizing technology. Flash forward 20 years, and we see that IT is the primary concern for civil rights in the world. It's a primary threat to our democratic system, and is increasingly becoming a major threat for existence of humanity. Runaway AI, cyber war, robots, cyber weapons, and robots. So this is where we are now. Does this need to be the case? Let me now mention two different facts that happened recently, which is seemingly unconnected. In 2017, a 57-year-old guy in the US drove his pickup truck in the parking lot of a stadium, took a recreational drone, flew it over a stadium, and started flying leaflets all around. Then, once it was done, he got back on the truck in Santa Clara, California, go to another stadium where the San Francisco 49ers were playing, and did the same thing again. Of course, inside this drone, you could have had bioterrorists, chemical weapons. It could also be just something to scare, because even if there was no bioweapons, it's not so easy to find. Even just scaring people enough, these people run, and you have thousands of people dying like that. The U.S. Air Force has been trying to find a solution for this for a long time. They still haven't found it. We live in a world where not only people with drones, but people with other technologies, a few people with little resources can create huge damage. This is a fact. That's why law enforcement have to create the capability to go after it. So after 9/11, of course, we saw what happened, and so it is a genuine need. And that's the world we live in, unfortunately. Second fact, every one of you read in the news, the 22nd, a 6-month report by Anthony Ferrante from FTI Consulting, former Director of Cyber Incident of the National Security Council of Obama, former Chief of Staff of FBI, of a very reputable company. 6 months of work for Bezos. It ended up that Bezos got hacked by a video that was sent via WhatsApp from a device owned by the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. So these, your time translated like the ultra-rich should be terrified of this revelation. Even the richest of the world have no way to protect themselves from hacks. So what kind of hopes should we have that everything we buy, a crypto phone, Signal, Telegram, and all this stuff provides any meaningful security? So how does this connect to the other? Is that how it's paradoxical? How is it possible these people, as rich as they are, all those people in Davos, with their planes and so on and so forth, they're as vulnerable as this guy? How could this happen? Because governments need to break everything in the world. They cannot afford someone just because he has more money to have more security. Because the more money you have, the more you could make big crimes. Let's say you are someone from the Middle East. We don't want to be any ethnically insensitive, but there's people that could decide to send 100 million petrodollars to ISIS, and all kinds of things happen. And so this is why the two things are absolutely connected. Freedom and safety are connected, and so the need for that explains why we don't have security now. So what is destroying numbers? So in this context, especially when Switzerland is the home of the private banking, so providing services, trust to high net worth individuals and so on. A recent survey by UBS found that high net worth individuals, there are 60 million of them. Half of the people in this room, I think I hope you are ultra, but I think just having 1 million or more qualifies as one. They have their main concern being cybercrime, right after country politics. Again, it's paradoxical. Why would that be their first concern? A bus driver, that's not his first concern, because he doesn't have so much to lose. A rich person, they don't know what to buy. There's no way they're on target. So that's the problem that we have. Then again, US citizens also, in general, citizens see cybercrime double as a worry than any other crime. Literally, the problem is the systems are too complex. There's obscurity in the system, unverified chain of trust. We can understand why these systems are broken as it is, but is it really a technical problem? We solve all of these problems literally in aviation. Nowadays, only 1 out of 60 million flights results in an accident. We're incredibly good at technology, at security, safety, and in particular about certifications. Only 1 out of 60 million flies down because there is certification which trusts no one, nothing, and they go all the way down. We do the same for nuclear, with the international agency that controls this. That's why we're still alive after 70 years of invention of nuclear weapons. But then, out of 1.5 million phones that are made every year, everyone is hackable by many, many teenagers. Is this an accident? No. Everything is broken because it's broken by design, by multiple nations that invest tens of millions of dollars each, finding and putting holes everywhere, CPU, operating system, all that, and putting them in such a way that is plausibly deniable. Then they need to put backdoors in such a way that it looks like an error, which makes it even easier to be spread, that everybody can get this kind of information. So everything is broken. It's not an accident. Everything is broken by design. It was built this way. So we're living in a sea of lies. So all that I'm saying makes sense to you. It's 2 plus 2. Why don't you see it out there? Because governments must lie about these facts. Because unless governments lied about how secure current technologies are, no criminals would use it and they couldn't intercept them. So one absolute need of law enforcement is to lie about that. That's why you have the FBI lying about the fact we cannot hack in the Apple phone. Then a company said $1 million will open it. 3 researchers doing it for free. After that, and now they're repeating the game. That's why you have recent discussion on Trima, on the scandals of Credit Suisse and so on. Apparently, some people within the banking industry has been using an application called Trima, and since they use Trima, so there's nothing anybody could have done to listen to their information. That's not, because even an application, the even perfectly secure, cannot be more secure than the device it runs on, because there are companies, and one of them is going to be talking in Challenge B, that will are very able at putting a malware on your device to read stuff on your screen or read it in clear text at the CPU level. So this is where we're living. The perception is only intelligence agencies can hack in the phones of rich and powerful. Unfortunately, it is teenagers that find state-grade hacking tools in the internet. We're truly living in a hacker republic. I mean, it's not a joke. We literally are already. So the power that used to be in the financial powers, in the richest, in government, has moved to those actors, state and non-state, which have the highest informational superiority. So that they can best defend their information and get other people information, or even hack their system to cause a damage. And so that's the world we're living in. That's what's happening. And it's a fast transition. So what is the key intuition to tackle this problem? Is that until now we've been told that personal freedom and public safety were either or. So you want 9/11, you have terrorists all over, they can do everything, so you have to sacrifice your privacy to have safety. I'm a father of 2 kids. I have 2 daughters, 14 and 9, and if given a stark choice between you want your safety or your family, or you want privacy, okay, I'll give out privacy. And that's what we as Western citizens have done. All of us, or nearly all of us, have voted to keep those governments, which have kept these laws and these practices after 9/11 and after Snowden, because if you're given a choice. So really freedom and public safety are not either or choice, because this lack of privacy and security has raised to the level of elected officials, candidates for presidents, and we've seen what happened in the elections in the US. So this lack of freedom and privacy has broken the democratic system itself, so much so that we have crazy people at the head of very powerful states, which in turn creates a huge public safety. So you cannot choose one or the other. We need to solve both of them. So it's not an either or choice, just like it was before the analog world. So the solution we have identified, and the Trustless Computing Association we've been promoting for 4 years, is the creation of a new standard setting body, which is completely trustless, which goes all the way down to the CPU, fabrication oversight, and verifies the system, the supply chain, and also the means by which government can actually access if they have reasonable proof. We create an ecosystem of partners, two of which are present here, which are resilient from states buying them off, threatening them, and so on under Swiss law, and creating a first computing device that could create traction for this type of standards. Just a second. So we're building a device, probably see there, with a startup spin-off, which is raising 6 million to create a device, which would be initially only the rich people, but then anybody can use. We should have a ultra secure hardware device embedded in the back, which is done completely in a different security level, and you can easily use it on the back. And so you could have your public sphere of communication, your private sphere of communication. So you would have freedom that could be for rich people, politicians, but then ordinary guys. And of course, this is going to be applied to HSMs, to other root of trust systems, and any other subsystem which are critical. Current solutions, as we said, we have companies like Samsung and iPhone. They supposedly control the entire ecosystem, but they're way too complex. Even if they wanted, they couldn't provide this level of security. On the other side, you have applications like Signal, Telegram, or Threema. How many in the audience rely on a secure messaging app? Let's exclude WhatsApp. Let's not consider WhatsApp a messaging app. Anybody who's using some of these secure messaging app, please raise your hand. Okay, who's using Signal? Okay, who's using Threema? Okay, good. Yeah, Threema is very popular in Switzerland. It's home grown and so on. So we talked about the devices. The application, as we said before, cannot be more secure than the device it runs on. Number two, many of these applications are not even inspectable, like Telegram and Threema. Number four, in order to get in the App Store an upgrade, Signal took 87 days. So the Google App Store didn't allow to update and fix bugs for 87 days. Who knows? Maybe a three-letter agency didn't want to. So I'm gonna have to cut it quick. So current certifications are very, very, very much flawed. I'm not gonna get into that discussion. I'm gonna have this deck available to all of you via email, all the participants. And unique differences of this new certification is that every single piece of hardware and software is going to be transparently inspectable in the source designs. Two, it's going to be extremely inspected by ethical hackers and security hackers. You're going to have an oversight, even during fabrication, by 5 citizen witnesses. Any access to the server room, again, needing 5 people in a jury, and a new certification whose governance you can trust, because it's citizen accountable, because it's a technical expert and so on. So these are the paradigms. We won't have time to do this. Why trustless? Because it's untrusting, distrustful. The basis of democracy is distrusting. When you go to vote, who are you trusting? Nobody. You're just trusting that the organization makes so that there's 5 people there that are unlikely to collude. So you're trusting the inherent resilience of this organizational process. So democracy works because it's trustless. And so we're literally applying those same processes to the supply chain of our IT system. Now, IT is broken down to the fabrication. You're not told that, it's not covered in the media. Military sector, they know that. Trust cannot be added to integrated circuits after fabrication. If you weren't there to be a witness, you have no idea what you're using. So this process by which 5 people and need to be present to access the server room is what enables us to entertain law enforcement requests to access the data of an individual which is a suspect of a crime. So they don't need to convince me. I don't have even the ability to access my server room. They need to convince a jury, a privately built jury, all within current laws. We're not proposing any changes to current laws. Then they have proper authority. And so therefore they go inside. So we create this buffer between the rights of the individuals and the needs of the state. This is an absolutely crucial innovation that we created 10 years ago and demonstrated live 10 years ago in the center of Rome, Italy. So not only we're good at shoes and spaghetti, but sometimes with some nifty IT ideas. So this is another aspect of how we prevent at the fabrication level for terrorist groups to use these open technologies to make their own devices which are critical, and this came after talking with European Defense Agency and various intelligence agencies. So, but ultimately it's all about governance. So why should you trust this certification body? Because we design it in such a way that you have experts which have been proven to be altruistic, so they know their stuff. You have governments with their security agencies, but also data protection agencies. You have randomly selected citizens, like direct democracy, and you also have some economic actors participating. It could be the government of Switzerland, it could be Digital Switzerland, some of the technical partners, to make sure that this creates some economics, because otherwise, we're not gonna spread all this around the world. Blockchain, AI, and quantum computing will be defended against using the same process of transparency and battle testedness. And this is basically the process is not going to reinvent, it's going to use and work within the same terminology of existing certifications like common criteria, and actually it is born as suggestions for current certification bodies, but they're not going to get them and receive them because of the governance behind it. So our strategy, we don't want to, we want to attract big players. We're talking big players from Samsung or Huawei to Microsoft and other players that I cannot mention, and also some of the major banks here. In order to come on board new standards, they cannot be perceived to go against the initiative of the European Union in this area or ITU. So we are concurrently presenting these new ideas as proposals within the European Union process and within UN process, so that basically our partners can show as being good players. The vision is that this will eventually be applied as an ultra secure, standardizing ultra secure back screen for the phones of everybody, so that anyone can have secure, constitutionally meaningful communications, but then apply this to root of trust systems of AI, 5G, and other critical systems. And eventually this certification body, I think there was a reference to this as far as the governmental role regulations by Nicholas Brewer, is that having this standardization body as a completely private initiative could be taken as a basis for governments to create new regulations, by which at some point, for example, their elected officials should all be using this stuff. Because if they don't, they're blackmailable the next day because of what they did or what their brother-in-law did. And nearly all of them, 50% or more of them are most likely like that today. Is your vote, what is your vote counting now? So apologize if I took too long, and thank you, that's all for now.